Hey Gemini, this is Mimi with Divination by Mimi. Welcome to your December 2017 tarot reading with Oracle if necessary and with a little bit of astrology. And I'll start with that. So you might have a bit of a rough time at the beginning of the month. Mercury is going to go, well, first let's start with your full moon. On the 3rd, there's a full moon in your sign. And you rule the 3rd house, communication, right? Mercury, your ruler. So you're funny, you're social, you're the social butterfly, you get along with everybody. Everybody really likes you, okay? The full moon in your sign also on the exact same day, again, the 3rd, also means you'll be feeling the Mercury retrograde. And you and your other mercurial friends, Virgos, are going to be feeling a really rough, sorry to bring this to your attention, but a really rough aspect with Saturn. Saturn's going to be squaring, and you'll feel the effects of it because Mercury's going retrograde. It's going to be squaring Mercury. So the tendency for you are to be problem solvers. You're an intellectual sign, so you're analytical. So you like to look at things, use empirical data, Venn diagrams, scientific method, and come to a conclusion on something. With retrograde, you know that this can mean not all the details are there, or easily accessed, or clear. Okay. Also, with the Saturn squaring it, it's restrictive. So whereas you're like, okay, well, no problem. If it's not all clear, I'll do some research and find out. Saturn's going to restrict it even further. So you might, at the beginning of the month, till about the 18th, till middle of the month, I guess, you might be feeling a little bit of depression, maybe, feeling stuck. Okay. So ride it out. Your nature, again, is to solve problems, is to be analytical, is to think about things. You're thinkers. And nothing is going to seem clear, and there's going to seem no resolution to the clarity because of the restrictive energy of Saturn. And the fact that you go retrograde and direct and retrograde and direct and make this impact or this connection with Saturn at different points during the first portion, well, the first half at least of the month. So just keep that in mind and try to ride it out. Things will get better. We have, as I said, the full moon in your sign, very big, super full moon in Gemini. And again, 3rd house is communication, intellectual endeavors. How do you share information with the other? Things like that. And the new moon is going to be on the 18th, and this is in your sister mutable sign, Sagittarius. Or brother, Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. And that is going to occur in the 9th house. So what you'll be feeling with that possibly is a time where you might need to reconsider how much you give away of yourself, the kind of boundaries you need to set with friends. Are you too closed off? Do you not share enough? Or are you giving everything away? Like literally, are you doing all the work with no reciprocation? So boundaries are a thing to look at the new moon. And at the full moon, it's communication. A lot of static will be occurring because of the retrograde, the square with Saturn, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the Uranus and Mars opposition, which can cause arguments because of the assertion of the will versus the assertion of the collective. So some tension at the beginning of the month. However, a beautiful aspect on the day of your full moon in your 3rd house in Gemini is the beautiful trine being formed. So 11 is the degree of which a lot of these aspects occur. 11 degrees is where the full moon in your sign occurs, which means the sun is at a direct opposition at 180 degrees across the way at Sagittarius. Also, there is Mars at 11 degrees and Uranus at 11 degrees. And then finally, there's this beautiful trine forming, which is the positive bit of the first portion of the month. There's a fantastic trine that becomes exact on December 2nd and 3rd. And this is between Jupiter and Neptune. So it will be at 11. So Jupiter will be at 11 degrees of Scorpio. And Neptune will be direct and at 11 degrees of Pisces. Now, 11 is the master number for service. So what this ultimately will be, in other words, try to relax in the first part of the month, knowing everything will be okay. And here's why. The master number of service can mean that you bring things into you. So if you can't logically and analytically solve problems on the 3rd, try to move outside of your normal rational self and think like a child and dream. And this is why. Rationale and the left brain doesn't exactly apply on this day because of this aspect. Anything can happen, literally. This kind of energy is the limitlessness of Neptune with the expansiveness of Jupiter, and direct in a very harmonious trine. So this means that miracles can happen. Things that you want that you thought you may never ever be able to have can happen. So set the intentions on this day. Again, this would be the 3rd of December. Set intentions. Magic can actually happen on it. Really, I know it's hard for you to believe, but remember when you were a kid and unicorns were real? And in England, they are apparently still real because they're on the passport. But anyway, use this time to dream. It's a dreamy time, and you know, not everything happens in the left brain. There's some amazing things that really do happen in the right brain. So let that childish nature of dreaminess flow. And I think, did I miss anything? Oh, the solstice. Solstice on the 21st is the day that Saturn goes into the 10th house. So Saturn has been in your opposite sign, Sagittarius, fellow mutable sign, for quite a while. That's the 9th house, which has to do with education, travel, borders, different cultures, learning about different cultures. It's making a move to the 10th house. So this kind of highlights what's been going on for the last few years in the Western world about immigration. You know, it happens in Europe, it happened in Canada, it happens in Australia, and it's happened in the United States for sure. This highlight of the problem being immigration. It's a much bigger story than that, we all know, but that has been the highlight. Saturn's going to be moving now away from the land of the 9th house, away from the land of borders, of different cultures, of restrictions, of travel, and moving into the 10th house, which is about institutions, reputation, government, courts, finances, banking, business, things like that. A lot of different opinions are going around on this, on what Saturn going to the 10th house and resting there means. For Capricorns, it's great. It empowers Capricorns because that's the ruling planet of that house and that sign. For collectively, for the rest of us, I think this is good because in a neoliberalist world, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox here, but in this neoliberalist business first, laissez-faire, hands off the free market world we've been in, business has been kind of getting away with murder. Everything from the companies that create weapons to the pharmaceutical industry to the food industry, the farming industry, things like that. So I think Saturn, being that they're about restriction and rules and regulations, moving into the 10th house, we might see some much needed legislation and actual oversight over business rather than the free reign they've had for some time now. So I see it as a positive thing collectively. On an individual level, you might feel it in the way of when you normally used to be able to float that check just in time, you know, and it gets there just in time without late fees or bounce checks or anything like that. Saturn is kind of a dick in this way, and that Saturn's like, oh no, it's going to post on the exact day you write the check, right? So that wiggle room that you used to have is going to disappear with Saturn returning home to the 10th house. 10th house is about, on a personal level, reputation, your career, your occupation, your career, but how you present yourself to the world, right? How other people, how you're seen in the world. It's the DDS on the end of your title, that kind of thing, or whatever your title is. So that's what it is on an individual level. So it comes home to roost when it comes to things like health. So Saturn rules the skeleton, the teeth, the knees, comes home to roost as it relates to businesses and finances. So again, that check may not float as long as it used to. And the taxes, you know, things like that. So hardcore institutions that you really can't avoid. Remember, Saturn is Kronos. He's like, your time's up. He's the Reaper, the Grim Reaper. So, you know, he's the god of time. He's the god of, I guess, karma in a sense. Lord of, you know, not Lord of the Underworld, but he's the heavy. He's, you know, he's like, oh, rules, bummer. That's Saturn. And so it can affect your life in that way. So I have been blabbering a long time, to a good 10 minutes. Let's get into your reading. We are going to be doing a 3-card pull based upon the top 3 placements or sephira of the Tree of Life, your respective Tree of Life. So there are several. I'll just give 2 examples. If you follow the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, this would be the top 3 sephira of the supernal triangle, which would be Keter, Chokmah, Binah. If you follow the Kemetic Tree of Life, this would be the top 3 placements of that supernal triangle. That would be Amenasur, Tehuti, and Sekert. If you follow Jungian theory, this would be superconscious, conscious, and subconscious mind. And I'm going to be using the Morgan Greer deck. This is a it's a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck, but it's a kind of brightly colored and interesting graphics. It's a very pretty deck. It's one of my favorites. So this is for the sign of Gemini, the mutable air sign of Gemini, ruler of the 3rd house for the month of December 2017. What does Gemini, mutable air, communicative, social butterfly, fun energy of Gemini, the thinker, the fun thinker, ruled by Mercury, flexible and changeable. What does Gemini need to know for December 2017? This is our last December of this year, friends. One more for Gemini, mutable air, ruler of the 3rd house for December 2017. Fully Hecate, cosmic soul, mother, creatrix of the universe, Titaness. Whoa, no, that's not it. What do our Gemini, that's it, our mutable Gemini friends need to know for December 2017? First card out, 9 of Cups in reverse. That's super conscious. Capricorn. Somebody else got the Capricorn card in reverse in the conscious mind. Another mutable sign in your conscious mind. The Hierophant in the subconscious mind in the upright. And you got a couple of bonuses. So we'll see if it makes sense for the clarification. You got the Page of Pentacles. That's communications as it relates to the manifesto world. So, and it's upright. So this would be could be letters from the bank. It could be messages about job opportunities. It could also be messages from your doctor. So it's not just finances. It can be the manifested world. So it could be your health as well. Okay. And then the other item is the 8 of Cups in reverse. So a refusal to walk away from something. And I'm actually going to put them over here with the Hierophant in the subconscious because that's where they were tagged on. So first things first, you have a feeling or superconscious God source, goddess source is trying to, or your higher source is trying to tell you, either you have a feeling of lost wish fulfillment or lost friends, or you're being advised that the friends that you're keeping, the company that you're keeping is not what you think it is. And I think it's the latter. So this is from God source. This is from your highest self. 9 of Cups is the wish card. It's a fun card. But it is cups, so it's relationships, it's your emotions. And it tends to be about, it's almost a 10, so it's nearly the culmination of the suit, emotions, friends, relationships. But it's in reverse, and this generally means either you're spending more time with that, or you're being advised, excuse me, you're being advised that your group of friends, your company that you're keeping is not good company. And that's why I think it's this, because of this Capricorn card. So another immutable sign, Pisces, had the Capricorn, the negative aspects of Capricorn in the conscious mind. So in your world, you might either be dealing with a boss or a friend or a partner, and they're the cause of this either loss of relationship or negative relationship. Okay. The low aspect of the low octave of Capricorn is they are very much about security. That Saturn is their ruler, and they rule the 10th house. So anything that disrupts their security is a threat. And that can mean emotionally, and that can mean financially. So a Capricorn on low octave would be so afraid of, well, I'll give an example, so afraid of losing their job, they will throw their colleague under the bus, just so it diverts attention from them as it relates to perhaps like a questionable situation at work. That's the low octave of the Capricorn energy. In a more personal setting, not so much work, they would be so afraid of the vulnerability that comes with sharing the self emotionally, time-wise, affection-wise, that they will close themselves off and be extremely cold. That's the low octave. So it kind of feels like, because we're looking at cups here, you're in either in a relationship with a Capricorn, there's a Capricorn energy in the relationship, or a friend. Could be a colleague too, but yeah, actually it could be a colleague. Or it could be a partner, like a marriage partner. Yeah. So I think we're talking about your partner here. Yeah, this is a Gemini who is married or partnered with, if it's not a Capricorn, this is usually the Capricorn card. The Queen is a cardinal, and it's Pentacles, which is Earth. That's Capricorn. You're either partnered with or married to, but definitely in a mutual relationship with a Capricorn who is displaying that type of thing, that kind of energy. So I'll give you an example. Gemini is a flirtatious energy. Again, the social butterfly. That can be misconstrued by Capricorn on a social level that you're cheating. Remember, anything that threatens security, whether it's financial or emotional, the result you get is the cold shoulder. I know, I'm a Capricorn. The result that you get is someone cutting off their emotions, cutting off their affections. And you might be experiencing this with the person. This could also be their modus operandi for a long time. You might have been dealing this for some time, which is why I'm making sense here. It's if we're not talking about flirtation, we could be talking about the way you spend money. Again, any threat to their security, to a Capricorn security, is huge. It's everything, and it will be met with a cold shoulder. So if we're talking about finances here, perhaps Gemini is a little bit more fun than Capricorn. Capricorn, unfortunately, is ruled by Saturn, the heavy of the planets, the bummer, the manifestor world of the planets. And Gemini's Mercury, fast-moving, fun, intellectual, talking. So you might be spending money on trips, like, let's go to Japan or something like that. And Capricorn's over here going, you overspent, or you bounced a check, or you did this, or you do that. We're not going anywhere. So they're throwing a wet blanket on things, in a sense. If it's a fidelity thing, your nature is to be communicative, so flirtation is part of your nature. That doesn't sit well with this particular Capricorn in your life. Not all Capricorns are like that, but one of the low octave traits is threaten the security, you're cut off. And they might be showing you the cold shoulder. And this might have been going on for a while. And the reason I bring it up and why I feel it's a marriage or a long-term partnership is the Hierophant here in the subconscious mind. It's a Pope in the picture. It usually means authority, institutions, structures that have long existed, like court systems or the church. That's why I feel it's a marriage. So you're thinking about divorce. I'm wondering if you're Catholic and that's just not something you can do. In other words, you're wrestling with that. If you're raised Catholic, you just don't get divorced because it's a holy sacrament in the church's eyes. So you might be thinking about that long and hard. Is it worth it? Is this a life? Is this the life? It doesn't feel like it's the life you were meant to have. It doesn't seem like it's a good fit. And I think your subconscious is having you look at the institution. It's in the upright, so it's asking you to consider what this means. This could be a lawyer. This could be the court system. If this is not a marriage and this is a work environment, this could be management playing a role here. And the other two cards that popped here were the Pentacle, the Page of Pentacles, and the Upright. Again, this is communications as it relates to health or finances. And the Eight of Cups in reverse, refusing to walk away. So this is why I keep going back to the fact that it's personal. Speak, Amy. It is a committed relationship, but you're not willing to walk away, or you're hesitant to walk away. And Gemini, I think the reason you're hesitant to walk away is a couple of reasons. It could be financially related, that divorce will cost you big time, not just the attorney's fees, but the results of, you know, the dividing of the spoils of war, so to speak. But also, if you are a Catholic, knowing the church's views on divorce could be something that's holding you back as well. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. It's either, it really feels like a relationship, like a committed relationship, like a marriage. And I really feel like a marriage, not just I'm living with you, a marriage, because there's a legal thing going on here. There's a commitment here, either as it relates to the church and your unwillingness to walk away from the Holy Sacrament, or we're talking about the act of divorce here, the court system or the judge or what have you, and you are worried about finances. How much is this divorce going to cost you? So you're contemplating divorce with good reason, and you're looking at it either from a financial perspective, it's going to cost that way, or it's going to cost spiritually. I'm going to seek some guidance on this just to see if I'm going to pull from the Thoth deck. And I'm going to find out, I'm going to ask the question if your fear is founded. Okay, so the fear of separation or the divorce, is that fear founded? Is there a concern over finances? Is there a concern over your soul? Okay. Sorry, yours is, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm Chatty Cathy. I'm hoping this is helping someone. It feels pretty specific. One more shuffle. Hecate, holy cosmic soul. In the subconscious, what's the concern with the termination of this relationship? If this concern is related to spirituality or finances, can you clarify if it's worth the concern, if the concern is founded? Gemini, a coupled Gemini, likely with a Capricorn, for December 2007. Thank you. I need my glasses. Sorry. 1 second. Three of Wands, virtue. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is the guy who is holding up he's standing near 3 wands. And he's looking out over the harbor as ships are going out or coming in. This is the person who is, the 3 is a balanced number, sort of. But you've reached a step, kind of like when you're going up a flight of stairs, that flight separator, you've reached that landing, okay? And you're assessing your situation, you're assessing your placement. and it's in the upright. So this is virtue in the upright. This is basically confirming that it's funny that it's virtue, isn't it? So I must be talking to a Catholic here. This is confirming that you, God, I hate to say this because I think before you jump on this, my first instinct was I hope that you're going to get some guidance to bail. You know, to go, it's worth the risk of the extra money, or it's worth the risk to your soul, or what have you. But this is kind of telling me that you perhaps have not had that open conversation, despite your communicativeness. It may not have been a direct, serious conversation about this. So, and particularly with the retrograde occurring and the square with Saturn, December is not the time to do this. Your feelings are founded, but I don't think that what I'm getting here is you put in the work, you've put up with it for a while, but it's in the upright position and it's virtue. I feel like you can't throw the cards in until you've actually had a really serious conversation about it. In your mind, you think it's ridiculous because flirting is your nature. Flirting is not bad. It's just having fun, right? To the Capricorn, it's a fear of, again, it's endangering their security. I don't think you've had a serious, so in other words, this concept of flirtation or of overspending is ridiculous to you. So I think you've laughed off or not taken seriously any communication about this. I think definitely not December to make a move because of all of the planetary activity occurring that's related to you. And the full moon and the retrograde, all related to the third house. I think that you need to have a serious conversation. The Capricorn needs to know that you're taking the situation seriously. Have the conversation first. Find out why they feel that way. Explain your perspective. See if you can come to some kind of resolution before you give up on those ships that you've sent out to make money, or that you give up on the holy sacrament that you've invested in. If it's a spiritual thing or if it's a financial thing, one or the other. Before you throw the cards in, before you give up on everything and make a move, don't do it in December. Maybe don't even try to have the conversation in December. Okay? When a lot of this stuff is over with planet-wise, consider having this conversation with them, a serious conversation with them, and find out why they feel the way they do. Show your perspective. Come to some kind of see if you can't come to a resolution. If you can't come to a resolution, then plan your move. But with the virtue also, if you're looking at it from a religious perspective, it's in the upright position, and we use the Thoth deck rather than, say, the Cartouche or some other oracle. And using the Thoth deck, we got the name virtue. So what I get from this is that your virtue, your soul, is not endangered regardless of your move, as long as you don't jump the gun. So this Three of Wands is very important, not only for the name of the card in the Thoth deck, virtue, for those that is related to the fact that you might be Catholic, but also for the fact that there hasn't been a strong enough communication and you really haven't given it that option a chance first. So yeah, this is making you uncomfortable, but hold out for December. Okay? I think the virtue thing here is saying that you'll be okay, whether it's financial, or you'll be okay whether it's the spiritually that's the reason that you're holding back on making the decision. But definitely keep holding back through December. Now, this month's not the time. Look at it in the new year. Have the conversation in the new year. That was so convoluted. I really hope it helped. It was, geez, almost 30 minutes. Gemini, I'm sorry it took so long. I hope it helped. If you have questions about it, I can just watch it again and then address your questions, just leave them in the comments section below, or comments, leave those too. If you'd like a private reading, if this is talking to one particular Catholic or cheap Gemini who's worried about the divorce, then email me and we will work out something. The prices are very reasonable. And just email me at mememes@hotmail.com. That's an email address you can find in the description box below this video. Otherwise, I'll see you for the lunations, and enjoy the holiday season, and then I'll see you next year. Oh my gosh, this year went fast. Gemini, thank you so much for your patience. I did blabber on a bit, but I hope it helps someone, and you take care. Bye-bye.